Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. I'm going to try to cook a little sugar molasses today out of these sugar beets. That's kind of what they look like when they come out of the ground. I got these here topped and washed off a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel these, add a little water to them, and then I'm going to cook them down. And that residual syrup that's left is going to be kind of my molasses sugar. And I want to see if I can't make some baked beans with that sugar that I'm going to make from these beets. Here's my cleaned and peeled and washed beets. You can kind of see here they're kind of an off-white color. I took a little extra time in cleaning these. I made sure there was no blemishes or anything on these beets that could cause any impurities to go into my final product, partake any bad tastes. The peelings and stuff, they could be used for animal feed, but I don't have any animals, so they're just going to go into compost. What I'm going to do now at this step is I'm going to grade these, and I'm going to actually grade them into the water so no oxidation occurs on my beets here. And then what I'm going to do is that whole concoction is going to go into a pot, and I'm going to simmer that. And then what that's going to do is that's going to kind of release the sugar in these and kind of make it into a pulp. And then I'm going to strain that, and then that's what that syrup then is what is left is what I'm going to cook down. And that's what my molasses sugar is going to kind of consist of. I'm kind of hoping for a good cup or so of product out of this experiment here. I kind of want about that much to make a batch of baked beans with it. But anyway, as I get going here, I'm going to kind of show you those different steps as well. And here's what the grated beets look like. Just grated them with a regular box grater. I grated them right into the water that they were soaking in because I didn't want it to oxidize, didn't want it to turn black or gray or anything. And as you can see here, the beet shreds are still fairly white. So this right here is going to go into a big stock pot, and I'm actually going to put this out on my gas burner outside because this is going to smell a little bit as it's cooking, and I don't want that smell in the house. So anyway, when I get this cooking here, I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like at that stage in my homemade sugar making process here. Here I am about an hour into my cooking process. It's starting to reduce just slightly. As this is cooking, there's kind of a foam that comes to the top. You can kind of see it right here. And I've actually been skimming this foam off. That's kind of the impurities cooking to the top. And that's the stuff that could give your kind of syrup an off taste here. So I've been taking that off as it's been cooking. I don't know if you can kind of see here, but the color of the liquid is kind of changing to a little bit of a brown tint. And that's kind of the molasses starting to cook out of this. The smell is got kind of a sugary, syrupy, molassesy type smell is what this smells like here as I'm cooking it. But what I'm going to do now here in just a few minutes is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to strain this in some cheesecloth, and I'm going to squeeze this kind of beet pulp out to get as much sugar out of it as possible. And then I'm going to return this back to the pot, and I'm going to cook it a little longer so it reduces down further. And here's my beet pulp after it's cooked a couple of hours, and I'm just straining it in a colander with a little bit of cheesecloth so I can collect my liquid. And that liquid right there is what I'm going to be cooking down to make the rest of my sugar syrup. We're just going to return this back into the same pot that I was cooking this in, and we're going to cook it down a little further. So here's my molasses sugar cooking. It's reduced by a little bit more than half. Still got a little ways to go yet. I want this to be kind of the thickness of about honey before I quit. And I'm glad I was doing this off-grid today because the electricity went out. Some kind of local power outage going on here. But anyway, got the Jenny over there on standby. So we're just chilling out here, cooking sugar in a power outage. All right, I'm at the kind of bubbling up stage. This is kind of the very end of the process here. When it starts bubbling and foaming like that, that means that most of the water has been cooked off, and this is getting to be a thicker product. So at this point here, I'm going to take my molasses sugar off the heat, and I'm going to let this cool down so I can transfer it into a jar for storage. And here's the kind of final product here. Kind of show you real quick here about how thick that this is. It's still a little bit warm, so it's going to thicken up a little bit as it cools, but yeah, it's kind of between syrup and honey as far as the thickness goes. I'm going to actually take this in now and I'm going to kind of measure it and show you what the final yield was. Well, here's my final yield. I got about 10 ounces of molasses sugar out of this sugar beet cookdown today, and that's about what I'm going to need for a batch of baked beans that I'm going to do here in a couple of days. And the taste is kind of a sugary, molassesy type taste. It should work perfectly good with baked beans. I think it would also work with a little bit of ketchup, or if you cook some tomatoes into this to make kind of a real basic barbecue sauce, I think it would work as well. Anyway, I went from this guy right here to this in about 6 hours, minus the power outage fiasco that we had here. But anyway, I hope you guys got a little information, a little entertainment out of this video. Kind of showed you here how to cook a sweetener out of sugar beets. Like I said, it's not, definitely doesn't taste like table sugar, but it is a sweetener that I can produce right here in my own garden and in my own local area. But anyway, this is Modern Refugee. I appreciate all my subscribers out there and hope you guys have a great day.